Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every single Wednesday morning I post a video going through last week's investing and collecting questions. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And then if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this, and I didn't, please drop that same question again and make sure you put repeat question and it'll get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And we do got to give thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch-Out Gaming. This is my local game store that I go to, and it's the #1 game store in all of Minnesota. I've actually been to the mall. Nobody can really beat the variety. And you can order right from their site too. They got stuff for everybody: Pokemon, sports cards, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, tons of video games and video game consoles. And they have one of the best selections of raw Pokemon cards that I have seen in the store. So definitely check them out. The links are in the description. All right, first question. This is a question that helped me make the thumbnail. It's from Joe Miller NV66. Do you prefer to buy singles on eBay or TCG Player? I've seen and heard so many reviews of near mint on TCG, but they don't always hold up. Without pictures, it's more of a gamble. Yeah. So for TCG Player, the only time I ever buy cards from there is when I'm trying to buy like a ton of one card, because you just can't beat the prices. So like the Palafin for Paldean Fates, this guy has 14 of them, solid reviews, and you get free shipping on orders over $5 or more at 50 cents a card. The cheapest Palafin on eBay is $1.48 with free shipping already. So that's the only time I ever really use TCG Player to buy cards. And then you also have to worry about TCG Player. They constantly will send, 10, 15 cards in one sleeve. It's crazy, just to save on shipping costs. So after you buy it, you can message them and just always message them and ask if they can sleeve it. Sometimes they still won't. But for eBay is where I buy pretty much all my other cards besides like actual card shows. Card shows, I feel like you can get the best deal. You got a barter and stuff. But yeah, eBay, you got, pictures on everything. And you can even ask for more pictures. On TCG Player, you cannot message them until you buy the card. On eBay, you can just message them before you buy anything. So if you're unsure, you can just ask for more pictures. Just know if you're asking more pictures on a card that's $1.48, probably not going to get a response. And then two, you have to worry where it says like more than like 10 is available and there's a quantity on eBay. The card that's pictured is probably not the exact card you're going to receive. So you got to remember that too. But yeah, I am a big fan of eBay. The fees and stuff kind of suck, but at least you can message everybody and get a ton of pictures. All right, next is from @SithyPuro6324. Hey, Pokebeard sir, great and informative content as usual. Nice job, thank you. Want to ask, what do you think on investing on 3-pack blisters Pokemon product? I can't afford booster boxes, that's why I'm on blisters. Trying to keep it for 5 or more years. Do you think this will be a good investing strategy? Can I gain a lot? Will it be worth the long wait? So whenever anybody has questions like that, you always just got to look at the best sets. So, Evolving Skies is $75 for their 3-pack. That's with an Umbreon promo. So you got to think like that's the gold standard for modern sets, but that's still pretty new. But if you look at the older sets, Cosmic Eclipse, Primal Clash, Unified Minds, they're all around that same price too. So just think, these are some of the best sets we've ever gotten. Some of these sets are pretty old and they're only at $80. I feel you on the not being able to afford booster boxes. I was there too, trust me. But I would probably recommend maybe a Pokemon Center ETB. I know that's still kind of expensive, $60, but it's a little more doable than a booster box. I'm going to actually make a video soon of like all the best sealed products to invest in for every single price range. Now, I'm not saying 3-packs are bad at all, because I do think they are very solid, especially if it's a good set with a solid promo. But I think it's going to take a long time, especially compared to like a Pokemon Center ETB with these crazy promos and the stamped. You really can't beat that nowadays. And then even maybe like a booster bundle too is not too bad if you can find those for a really good deal of really good sets. I think those are going to be very popular in the future. I don't think many people, are obsessed with these promos. They're kind of lackluster. But still, like I said, not terrible at all. Even if you can't afford a booster bundle and this is all you can afford, it's not bad. It's going to eventually go up. It's just going to take a while. Next is from @SteveCorderio7932. Probably butchered the name. Your thoughts on Eevee Evolution's VMax Premium Collection boxes? Sell, hold, open. Now, if it were me, I just hold. These are very beautiful boxes. Some of the best boxes we've ever gotten. Got Evolving Skies in there. I just wish it had 2 more packs. That's my only complaint. But I can see these boxes being pretty expensive in the future. And then if you want the singles, I would just go buy the singles. But if you have them, and if you're, interested in opening them, maybe chasing that 10, because some of the 10s are pretty expensive. Like, you can kind of see the cards and you can see if the centering's perfect, but that does not guarantee the back will be perfect. So it is a risk, which could pay off, but it's definitely very, very risky. I don't like to take big risks when it comes to this stuff. I just like to, buy at the bottom, be safe and all that. So I would just keep them sealed. Next is from @Raichu4. Repeat question. What is your process for buying singles looking to get them graded? You just got to be super, super picky. Like, actually super, super picky. So if you're talking PSA, it can be a tiny bit off-centered. So that's okay. Like, this card's pretty well centered. A little heavy on the top. And then too, like on eBay, when you click on the card, you can zoom in with this little magnifying glass. And like I mentioned earlier, you can always ask for more pictures. But yeah, I'm looking for literally no damage, no whitening. This card's actually pretty clean. I'd probably ask for a couple more pictures. You got that little white spot there, a little white spot here. I'd want to, see if those are on the card. A lot of times it's dust. But you just got to be super, super picky, and you'll be shocked. Almost every card you will get will be a 10 if you're actually picky. But all right, next is from a member @KevinDillon5772. What do you think about Pokemon Center fossil watches, Bear Walker skateboards, Pokeween, Gengar mug, or garden statues for long term? So my thing is, like, I love collectibles. I have 16 different collections, not just Pokemon. I love stuff that is numbered. So I feel like anything, Pokemon related that's relatively low numbered that looks nice, I feel like is going to do great. So we're on eBay, sold listings here. The Gengar fossil watch, numbered out of 1,300, sold for 900 or best offer. We got the Squirtle watch for 145 or best offer, another Squirtle for 250. We got, doesn't say who or what character, but another fossil watch, numbered out of 1,300 for 923 or best offer. We got the Kanto First Partners watch for 719. Wow, they hold pretty good value. So yeah, I just try to stick with anything that's numbered that actually looks nice and premium. So for the Bear Walker, like this Gengar here, sold for $580, one of 150. Here's a Rayquaza for $799 or best offer, limited to 250. And then we got like a Pikachu one for 128, doesn't say it's numbered. A Jolteon one for 250, doesn't say it's numbered. So yeah, I just always try to stick with numbered items for sure. All right, next question is from @Stefanox7929. For people who just start collecting, what is the best way to start up a collection on a budget? That would be on eBay to buy a Pokemon card lot. I've gotten the best deals in my entire life on lots to where I'm literally paying basically $1 a card, or even less sometimes, or maybe a little more depending on the rarity of the cards. So I always tell people this, especially people that want to just collect, their favorite Pokemon cards from just all different generations. Just type in Pokemon card sets on Google and then go to Poke Collector and it shows every single set. I start at the bottom. It literally takes 20 minutes. Click on every single set and look through the sets. So that way you just looked at basically every card that was ever printed for English. So you now know, all the cards, and then you can start picking out your favorite cards. And then start there, like, you might find the prime cards and you might fall in love with the prime cards and, you never knew they existed. Then you can go buy a big Pokemon card prime lot on eBay and you got an instant prime collection, stuff like that. So I always just say, do the research, look through all the cards and find the cards you actually want to collect. And then too, also card shows are great, especially if you go on the last day. A lot of sellers are looking to just get rid of their stuff, maybe the stuff that's been slow moving. So you can definitely find good deals there too. Next is from @Adults Love Pokemon 6615. I just got back a Becket Black Label Charizard VMax from Shining Fates and was curious if you think I should sell now or hold on to it. I love the card, and back a couple years ago, I know it was worth thousands and thousands of dollars, but curious if you think it could ever get back to that point or if now is a good time to sell. Thank you so much, man. So I have a rule with Becket Black Labels. It's almost hard to say. I keep all them because it's the best thing in, Pokemon cards. Like for graded cards, a Becket Black Label is king. But then again, a card like this, now that we're getting such beautiful arts, I don't know if it's going to have another boom like that. And if you think about it, the longer you hold these cards, a few more Black Labels are going to pop up, making this card a little bit less rare. So now I feel like it would be an okay time to sell it. I could see it coming down a little bit more. I can't see it going crazy, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. We got a sale here that ended on July 23rd for $1,575. So if you're looking to reinvest it into some other things, totally understand. But for me personally, I just keep all black labels. But I also don't really care if they go up or down anytime soon because I don't plan on selling anything. So it's a little different for me. Good question though. Next is from at JT Borakua12. We got some tough names today. Love the content. Was wondering what your opinion was on PSA 10 Sword and Shield Alt Arts and PSA 10 Scarlet and Violet Special Illustration Rares. Would now be a good time to invest in those, or do you see them going lower in the near future? Should I just use my capital for more sealed product instead at this moment? So if you're purely about money, sealed product is much safer, especially, you know, you can buy at the bottom. You know, we know what the bottom is, and it's less risky. Cards go up and down constantly. I do see these special illustration rares and some Sword and Shield alternate arts coming down in price when we get these crazy sets. We got an Evolution set, Surging Sparks, we got the Team Rocket set, we got the Partner set, we got crazy sets coming. So I could definitely see them coming down a little bit more, but still, I mean, they're not a bad price if you scroll through, especially when you're talking like cheap cards, like that's a Japanese one. But like some of these illustration rares in a PSA 10 are relatively affordable, like $30, $40, $50. Same with some of the special illustration rares. I mean, that's an okay price. Because like in the world of Pokemon, PSA 10s for pretty solid cards, it really doesn't ever get cheaper than $20 to $30. So that's kind of the bottom for those cards. So I feel like those are totally okay. And then, you know, the cards you really feel like are special, you know, like the Zapdos EX to me, I feel like that's a special card that's pretty slept on. You know, one just sold here for $150 in a PSA 10. You know, I could see that card being, you know, like the Charizard here at $375 in a PSA 10. So there's always a few cards that you might believe in that might be worth it. But sealed product is honestly the safest bet for sure. All right, next question is from at Travis Green. Hey Beard, I'm new to Pokemon investing and have been loving your content. Thank you. I have two questions. I just pulled the 151 special illustration rare Charizard. Is now the best time to sell before a potential reprint, or should I hang on to it? It has potential as a 10. Also, I want to invest in some booster boxes. Scarlet and Violet Base, Paradox Rift, Stellar Crown, and Surging Sparks can all be ordered or pre-ordered for around 90 to 105. Which of these is the best investment right now? Is there still some time on older Scarlet and Violet sets? So let's do the Charizard first here. Hop into Pokedata.io. So this card was $715 in a 10 on release. And it just keeps going down and up. You know, it was $300 in May, up to $375, down to $340, back up to $360, down to $340, and now it's back up to like $350, $360. See, the last sale here on Pokedata is $344, but we just seen one for $375, so not bad. So here's one thing that I noticed, especially with these popular sets. When we do get a reprint, it doesn't really affect the cards a crazy amount. It might a little bit, but yeah, unless it's like a massive, massive, massive reprint, which I don't think it will be for 151, plus a lot of people are going to buy all that up ASAP, to where I don't think any reprint for 151 is really going to affect the card prices too much. Because so many people collect 151. People don't care about PSA Pop Reports right now for these modern cards. They just want the cards. And then your second question is the base Paradox Rift, Stellar Crown, Surging Sparks. So right now, my favorite would be Paradox Rift of the four. But then again, we only have half of Surging Sparks revealed. So it's hard to say. But I do think Surging Sparks is going to do really, really good and has a lot more hype than almost every single Scarlet and Violet set we've had. Having the Pikachu on the box, and then we already know it's the Magneton promo, so the Pikachu is not going to be the promo. Because if you look at most ETBs, the Pokemon that's on the box is either a special illustration rare or a promo. So we're probably going to get a crazy Pikachu, you know, a few more electric Pokemon. I think it's going to be an awesome set. I already pre-ordered a Pokemon Center ETB case. So I'd probably go with the Surging Sparks just because it's got a lot of hype behind it. I can just see people trying to hype this booster box up to where it might get a little expensive right away. So if you can get it for around $100, that's not bad at all. Next is from at NTS Brids. Do you think investing in Uyama's Pikachu cards is smart? Well, let's take a little peek. Now these cards are absolutely adorable. So we got a raw air for $178. We got a PSA 10 for $769. Super cute cards, like no joke. Love the art in there. I love when it's just completely different. I don't know if it's going to gain a ton more value. You know, a lot of these cards are pretty level. Vintage stays pretty level. I do feel like there will be another vintage boom one day, but I have no idea when. But this is a pretty iconic card, and in my opinion, a pretty solid grail for any Pikachu fan or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Next question is from @my2VWillGapU. Is Becket or PSA better? All right, so we'll take a little peek here. So here's a PSA Gem Mint 10 Mewtwo V-Star. $128, sold on September 16th. Now here's a Becket 10 Pristine. Now this is the gold label, sold for $350. Now here's a Becket Black Label Mewtwo V-Star, sold for $3,000. And in my opinion, the Becket slab looks a lot better than PSA. I'm actually gonna start investing a lot more into Becket. You know, I love the gold labels and the black labels. I think they're, you know, the top tier when it comes to graded Pokemon cards. But then you got to think too with PSA, they're a little more affordable, which people love. A lot more people collect PSA, I would say, than Becket and CGC. So you have more people who are willing to buy your cards. So PSA is a lot easier to move. And then again, it's easier to get a 10 in a PSA than a Becket Gold 10 or Black Label. A CGC basic 10 is pretty easy to get. And then we've seen some pretty rough CGC Pristines. So that's also hit or miss. I just feel like the gold and black label goes with like all cards. And then with PSA, you know, it's red labels with every single card. You know, if it's an 8, 9, or 10, they all look the same, which I feel like helps with the 7s, 8s, and 9s. But then again, you know, you want it to feel a little special when you get that 10. But that's why I always say too, when you buy PSA 10s, always check the back, make sure it's an actual 10. Nothing worse than having a PSA 10 Gem Mint and you know deep down it's a 9. So yeah, I am legit going to start investing a lot more into Becket. I just like the slabs more. And like I said, a little more value, a little more strict. So next question is from @MrMully54. Hey Beard, so I just purchased an Obsidian Flames Pokemon Center ETB for a great price. Should I crack it open and chance a graded 9 or 10 promo to invest in more money now or keep it sealed? It's usually the opposite. Sealed ETB is more expensive than the promo recently, but I've seen this promo going for $300 to $400 in a 10. What are your thoughts? Thanks, man. Always appreciate your videos. Even if you don't use this in your vid, I just love to hear your thoughts. It's glaring at me to open. Haha. Yeah, I totally get that. So the Charmander actually just sold for $600. So if you did hit the 10, it is quite the little jackpot. So what I would do, which I should have did for you, but go check the PSA Pop Report on the Charmander Pokemon Center card, and you can kind of get the percentage of the odd of like actually getting the 10 compared to the 9 or the 8 or whatever. And if it's decent, it might be worth it. It just kind of depends on if you're a gambler and you like to take risks. But it is just straight up gambling if you do it. But at least you get to open some packs too. You know, you could pull the Charizard, which is only like $40, but still, you know, you're getting 2 promos also, so not too bad. And then again, even if it isn't a 10, it's still worth a decent amount in a 9 or raw. So you're not really like losing a ton of money if you do it, where you could be gaining a lot of money, but it's going to suck in a year or two when that Obsidian Flames ETB is a few $100. That's where you're going to be upset. But all right, next question is from @LeChonkmania. What's your opinion on the Charizard version of the Paldean Fates tins? I picked that version up to hold every time I see them out on store shelves. I never see that tin on shelves. I always look. I don't think they'll ever be like the Charizard G level X10s, but what's your opinion on them midterm, 5 to 10 years from now? I like them. I think they're very, very solid tins. You know, anything like that that's just pure Charizard. And then Paldean Fates is pretty solid. You know, it's a lot better than Shining Fates. So yeah, whenever I see these in person, I'm grabbing them. I think I only have 2 of these because that's all I've seen so far. But the secondary market, I mean, last sold 41, 42, 42. So we got 1 down there for 32, but might not have had shipping. So yeah, I would grab them whenever you can. All right, next question. We actually got 3 questions that are pretty similar. So the first one is from @Trainer's Archive. Is now a good time to invest in Korean Eevee Heroes booster boxes, especially since they've been out of print since June? The next one is from @CourtneyFTB123. Hey man, absolutely love the content. I watch as soon as I get notifications. Thank you. I started collecting last year and switched focus to sealed product recently. I would consider myself a budget collector. I love collecting English, of course, but it can get pretty expensive. What are your thoughts on collecting sealed in Korean, Japanese, and simplified Chinese? And then the last one is from @Nate's FCG. Hey Suga, repeat, would you suggest to invest in Korean or Chinese cards? So it's pretty tough. I would say Korean would probably be the least valuable, I would say, out of all of them. Japanese is definitely your, second best bet. And then I'd probably say Chinese has some crazy heat behind it right now. And they're getting a lot of exclusive cards. So now I don't invest a ton in other languages. I do invest a little bit into Japanese booster boxes, 151. I want some Lost Abyss ones, V-Star Universe, stuff like that, the banger sets. But then again, anything like Eevee Heroes for any language, I feel like is going to do pretty decent. Korean, it doesn't matter what it is. So I think Eevee Heroes is a solid exception for all languages. But you got to remember, there are people that collect Korean and Japanese, but almost everybody collects English. Most people will not turn down an English card. Everybody I know that has Japanese collections and Korean and Chinese, they have a bigger English collection. So yeah, my advice would be just be super picky with what sets you get for these other languages. Make sure they're the best of the best sets. And then make sure you get from a trusted seller too, because these are faked way more than English cards. All right, next question is from @EC22 on the topic of Pokemon Center ETB promo cards. Should you keep them in the original packet and put them in a top loader, or take them out and sleeve them like any other card? Thanks. Definitely don't take them out. I would actually put them in a card saver instead of a top loader. They're a little bit longer and then it keeps the plastic nice. But yeah, definitely keep them sealed. Next is from @JasonWatson2334. Hey Pokebeard, I have a question. I have a few Pokemon Center promo cards from the ETBs. Do they still have value even though I opened them all? Are they still considered near mint? Yes, they still have value. Yes, people will still buy them. They'll be a tiny bit cheaper than the sealed ones. And yes, they would just be considered near mint to mint, just kind of depending on the condition, if they're actually creased or anything like that. I'm guessing they're not. But yeah, definitely just put near mint / mint. Next is from @GamerHalo. I heard you used to play the TCG. As a TCG player myself, I was wondering what your favorite decks were when you played. So my favorite deck probably back in the day was my Gardevoir and Gallade deck. I just, couldn't be stopped with that deck. It's a pretty crazy deck also. It's one of the best decks of all time. But I think that was around 2009, 2008. Yeah, 2008 to 2010 is when I was really using that deck. But yeah, that's just the deck that I've won the most with. Good question. Next is from @JackSharky562. Just starting out in Poke investing and enjoying your channel, so thank you for the content. You mentioned buying at the bottom, and I wondered what market indicators you use to figure out where the true bottom is. So it's just from being in the hobby a long time. Booster box bottom is, $80, $90. And then, ETBs, regular ones, 30, maybe even 25 to 35, stuff like that. And then like for cards, like illustration rares, cards that are somewhat popular that aren't super hard to pull, you just got to think $1 a card, $2 a card, like that's the bottom. And then for special illustration rares, cards that are actually hard to pull, anything under $10 in my opinion would be, towards the bottom, $5. So that's what I use. If you think about it, if a pack costs $4 or $5 and you're getting one of the hardest cards to pull in the set for $4 or $5, that's at the bottom. Like that's a win-win in my opinion every time. All right, let's get to the next question. It is from @MichaelFisher281. Hey, love the videos. Thank you. If you were looking to add a graded card to your collection, would you buy an already graded card or search for one in good condition and get it graded yourself to save a bit of money? Mainly looking at some of the newer illustration rares rather than vintage. So for like the cheaper cards, an illustration rare, if it's $30, $40, $50 in a PSA 10, I'm just buying the PSA 10 every time. I'm not going to waste my time sending in a bunch of cards, especially... It's not as easy as you think, especially for those illustration rares. A lot of them are pretty rough. But when we're talking more expensive cards where the PSA cards are hundreds of dollars, that's probably where I'm going to try to actually find, an actual mint copy and possibly get it graded, just because I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a PSA graded card. I'm very cheap. But yeah, when we're talking $30, $40 for a PSA 10, not too bad. Next is from @SqueamishGold25. I recently bought a case of Brilliant Stars Pokemon Center ETBs and was wondering if it'd be smarter to open the case and protect each one individually, or leave them in the case for better future value. Thank you for all the hard work you put into your videos. The best of the best. Thank you. I appreciate that. I would definitely just keep it in the case probably. I mean, I get it. Some people want to take them out and display them. You know, you're not going to lose a ton of value, but it will definitely be worth less than just keeping it in a sealed case. Because having the sealed case, you have both options. When you go to sell it, you can try to sell it as a sealed case. And then if it's not selling, then you can always crack it open and sell them individually, because not everybody's buying super, super expensive sealed cases every single day. So I'd probably just keep her sealed. Next is from @Mike Zayangle. Repeat question. Huge Raichu fan. I have a robust Raichu collection and Wizards of the Coast graded holos 6 through 10. First editions, tag team alt arts, and a binder full of every Raichu card in English and most copies of Japanese. Condition ranges from moderately played to near mint. Do you think single Pokemon collections like this are smart long-term investments? And do you think the value increases because of the overall collection? Or would selling an entire single Pokemon card collection be difficult? I don't have any plans to sell, but maybe in the distant future. Thanks and keep up the great work. So I've done collections like that before. It's definitely tough to sell somebody who's going to buy an entire Raichu collection. And then you got to remember too, you can always try to sell it as a whole set. And then if it doesn't sell, you can sell them off individually. So it's not a big deal. It's totally fine. It's not a huge difference from you collecting like any other type of set. Raichu's pretty popular. A lot of people love the complete sets. So I think it'll do totally fine in the future. Next is from @OneLuckyViewer. Repeat with 151 covering base, jungle, and fossil, and the rumors of Team Rocket and Gym Leader sets. Do you see Pokemon going back to Gen 2 around the 30th anniversary? Believe it's the 25th anniversary of Gen 2. Thanks again for all the great content. I would freak out if we got a pure Gen 2 set. Oh my god, I'd spend all my money. I'd have that set mastered. I'd be trying to black label everything. I would be very, very excited for a Gen 2 set. I hope so. It makes sense. I mean, especially when you put it like that, it definitely makes sense. So hopefully. Next is from @SMH1030. As a new Pokemon collector, what advice do you have for being in this long term, and or what have kept you interested in this hobby? Thanks for the amazing content. So for me, you know, I have the nostalgia of growing up. I was obsessed with Pokemon. My mom was obsessed with Pokemon. She'd literally drive me to the store to buy cards constantly because she wanted to complete the sets too. And I played for so long that it's just a part of me now, basically. But what I like to do too, especially I know a lot of people don't like the newer Pokemon, you just gotta appreciate them, you know, pick out your favorites. So what I like to do with the new games, I will literally go around and only catch the new Pokemon. Of course, I'll go collect my favorites that I love to use in the game, but I will literally just try to use all the new Pokemon and actually try to appreciate them and find the ones that I love. And that helps me a ton. You know, there's always some awesome new Pokemon in every single generation. Of course, there's Pokemon in newer generations that suck. There are for every single generation. I mean, even Gen 1, we got a Pokemon that's just a floating Pokeball with eyeballs. So there's, you know, rough Pokemon for every gen. And I think, you know, actually playing the game, it helps you appreciate it more. And then too, you'll start knowing all the characters. You'll see the characters in the sets. So I definitely recommend playing the game. But yeah, for me, the nostalgia is crazy. Like I can still open up one of my vintage binders and I literally get a feeling in my chest when I see some of these cards. Like it's wild. Like it just brings me right back in time. But yeah, I would just definitely try to give the newer stuff some love, and it'll make you appreciate the hobby more and make you get into it. And then definitely, if you haven't seen the show, watch some of the show, watch some of the movies. The movies are great. All right, next question is from @Cybertron84EX. Do you think a 151 English reprint will happen at the end of the year? Thanks. I could definitely see them doing a big reprint for Christmas. It'd be pretty smart of them to do that. It would sell great. They would make millions and millions of dollars. So yeah, I'm hoping we get a pretty decent one. I'll definitely let people know, you know, I talk to a lot of stores and distributors and stuff now, so I'm going to get that inside scoop when we actually are going to get some 151 coming. All right, last question is from @MathisWilliams4845. How long you been growing that beard? Since about 2020, I would say. Right when COVID got crazy and I didn't have to go into work anymore. I was a chef, so I worked in the kitchen. Can't really have a super long beard when you're working in the kitchen. And then, yeah, ever since then, I've just been letting it grow. I don't even really do much to it. Just trim it every once in a while, you know, around the mustache and the long hairs at the bottom. Because, I mean, the beard's a lot longer than you guys think. Like, if I actually, you know, pulled it and, like, straightened it out, it's extremely long. It's kind of curly. So, great question, though. But, all right, that'll say is What If Wednesday. Like I said before, if you guys do have any questions, please drop them down below for a chance to be in next week's video. And then, you know, if I do comment, say, great question, I might use this, and I didn't, definitely drop it again and put repeat, and it'll be guaranteed to be used. But don't lie, I can click on your little channel and it'll tell me how many times you've commented. I've had a few people now say repeat question, and they've never asked a question before. So no lying. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. Of course, if you guys like the content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. I comment back to every single person. It might take me a few days, but I will definitely get to you. And then if you want to hop over to my Instagram where I show all the good deals, you know, when 151 booster bundles come in stock, I post it there ASAP. You know, anything like that, I'm posting it right away, stuff from my personal collection. And if you want to support even more, you can now join my membership. It's only 99 cents a month. But all right, if you guys want to watch my last Market Monday, click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.